turn around.
Every now and then I feel a little bit lonely and you're never coming round.
Turn around.
Every now and then I get a little bit tired of listening to the sound of my tears.
Turn around.
Every now and then I get a little bit nervous that the best of all the years have gone by.
Turn around.
Every now and then I feel a little bit terrified, but then I see the look in your
Turn
eye.
around the bright eye.
Every now and then I fall apart.
Oh, bright eye.
Every now and then I fall apart. And I need you more tonight. And I need you more than ever. And if you'd only hold me tight, we'll be holding on forever. And we'll always be making it right. 'Cause we'll never be wrong. Together we can take it to the end of the line. My love is like a shadow on you all of the time. I don't know what to do, and I'm always in the dark. I'm living with shadow peg and giving up sparks. I really love you tonight. Forever's gonna start tonight. Forever's gonna start to. Once upon a time I was falling in love, but now I'm only falling apart. Nothing I can say, a total eclipse of the heart. Once upon a time there was light in my life, but now there's only love in the dark. Nothing I can do, a total eclipse of the heart.
I see with this divergent reality, which is kind of what we've got going on, right? And we've got two realities that are going on, but they're slightly different. They're both climate change oriented, but one says methane is a big problem, and the other one says, no, it's not really a big problem, and we can control it. That's always the part they use. We can control it. I'm sorry to do all these things with my hands, but it's kind of like I haven't seen anybody controlling it yet. But good luck with that, right?
I think you have a good point, because I think it seems from what you read and hear about climate from the mainstream sources, it's like it seems that their conclusion was crafted before the footwork, the legwork. So it seems they all want to say that, yeah, we can still handle this and control it as long as we do A, B, C, D, and change our batteries and change our light bulbs and buy expensive electric cars from Asia shipped with bunker oil. So it seems that their conclusion is like, yeah, this is still in our hands. And I'm doing stuff with my hands as well. It's still in our hands. Yeah, you and I can change.
It's in our hands.
Yeah.
It is still in our hands. It is ours to solve, because
we can solve it.
We have the history as a species of being able to handle things.
Yeah, we solve everything.
Like
we never screw up anything. We are human beings.
Never.
Yeah.
No.
So
wisdoms.
if you have the
sapient wise ape.
If you have the conclusion ready that this is still in our hands, as I've said, then obviously if you find some facts from Siberia saying that it's not in our hands. We should have done something 100 years ago or 50 years ago. That obviously that must be a stupid conspiracy theory, or those facts must just not be facts, right? So
They're not facts. They're alternate facts.
Yeah. So if you kicking the baby out with the bathwater in that way, and you're just throwing away the scientific process, and you're writing your conclusions before you start doing the research, that's what you get.
And the other thing you do is have videos with upset climate activists that are falling apart, and then the people who made her fall apart, these conspiracy methane people, are bad and must be exposed. Obviously. Or something.
Yeah, or maybe they should be sent to Siberia in training camps. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, it's hysterical. I've never really seen anything quite like this flavor of it. But here we are. So welcome to the great methane wars, right?
Yeah. It's kind of strange when you see scientists on a serious scientific YouTube channel, that are more concerned about you and me being on the internet than they are about the actual permafrost blowing to bloody pieces. That we are the cause of concern.
Right. And the video that we were both recently involved with, right, Methane Monster 2, and the rehosting of it is an atrociously long and kind of like tedious account, scientifically, chart by chart, picture by picture, of 2 hours and 40 minutes of methane and climate change stuff that's happening now. And it was all drawn from credible sources. And I even did this freaking reference section at the end, because I had gotten dinged on my first video, the Arctic Methane Monsters Rapid Rise, for not having, proper references. Who is this Jennifer Hines? She's nobody. Whatever. I've never heard of her.
But that's what critics always do, if you have the references, they will say, oh man, it's too many references. And if you don't have them, they will say, oh, this is non-scientific.
Well, it's all part, I kind of take a step back, Torsten, and it's all part of, the 5 stages of grief. And it happens at a mass level. Bargaining. Because it's very easy to understand this stuff and to look at it. I mean, all you have to do is do a little bit of research and have a little bit of obsession that causes you to watch YouTube videos for 10 hours a day on the subject. You can master it pretty quickly, and it's not difficult at all. It's actually very interesting and very engrossing. But then if you have all that data available to you and you refuse to draw the conclusions, or even worse, if you are kind of complicit in its delivery, and you deliver the message in such a way that it's influenced by other sources that are, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right? If you get on the news and you tell partial truths, you have to, because you're controlled by another external source, right?
Yeah. But let's not get into any conspiracy theories here.
No. Don't worry. Okay, well, the good thing is, what I was saying before is, because it's been proven that the methane threat is a conspiracy and everybody should just not worry about it anymore.
Nothing to see here.
It's given me great peace of mind, and now I can relax, and I don't have to feel like I necessarily have to, create this message in a variety of ways and scare everybody to death. I can just relax, go to the beach, and have a nice life, and just, call off the dogs, right?
It's like now in the weekend, you can sleep well at night and at day. You can sleep all day and night because nothing to worry about.
Don't have to have these horrible visions of the fall of civilization with the freaking blackened earth, all poison, devoid of life, hot, sweaty, uninhabitable because of nuclear meltdowns. It all goes away, like all of that. The population rise, the declining resources, all of that goes away.
That makes me remember because I've been made aware of some old memories, and I actually have some permafrost memories, you know, up here. And the first one is from a student trip to Dublin, you know, with my class in Oslo, and this friend and me, we took instead of the plane, we took the ferry and then the train through Ireland. So we went up on the mountain Ben Bulben in Sligo, in the Western Ireland. And right on the top of that mountain, there was, you know, like a small bathtub or something of collapsed permafrost. And I was like scratching my head because I've always been like this little professor or scientist, you know, like amateur scientist. So I was sort of scratching my head and said, what happened here, you know? Why is it sunk down like that? And I don't know if Ben Bulben used to have permafrost or not, but probably did, you know, if it's like 600-700 meters and, you know, as far north as Ireland is. And then the second memory is from Hardanger in the Norwegian mountains, where I was, you know, just walking around like I usually do up there, but in summer, this time in summer, and then I just saw sort of, you know, this dark brown permafrost soil, you know, just thrown up to the side, and I was like, wow, did they have a digger here or some huge construction work or something? This was in a remote lake area of Hardanger, and so this is something that I've seen like many years ago, but it just sort of comes back, as you say. You talk about some visions of the future, but these are sort of visions of my past that I have seen, and I have scratched my head about what on earth happened there, because it looks very violent. You see, like, you know, meters and meters of dark brown turf just thrown out of place, you know. So.
Yeah. Well, it's happened before, and you know, methane is a concern. Was it on your blog piece that you had in rebuttal in frozen.earth? You had as the graphic methane pockmarks that were done clearly from sonar taken from the seabed, and these methane pockmarks were on top of grooves that were left by glaciers, and so one can easily conclude, and they were monolithic up to kilometer wide, actually, and there were thousands of them. I mean, it was just like a seabed full of these things.
Yeah, these are some Norwegian researchers who have discovered this. They're pretty young researchers. And what amazed me the most was that this was not mud or sediments. These were pockmarks in hard rock, you know, in like granite or something. In
granite bedrock. So it's very dramatic, because when you look at it and you know what you're looking at, and it's all derived from very kind of high resolution sonar, you can see the grooves that were created by the glaciers as they slid down the mountains and slid along the seabed, and the rocks that were dragged with them, the boulders that were dragged with them, creating these grooves. And then atop these grooves are giant methane craters up to a mile wide or a kilometer wide. I mean, and a lot of them, it's sizable. Coming straight out of the bedrock and exploding out of the bedrock. It's kind of like, when you start to look at it, it's like, that's kind of scary, right?
It is, absolutely. And it doesn't look healthy because it's almost like if you have an arm or a body of a human with sort of pockmarks, it looks very disgusting, and something bad happened here, right? Yeah.
Something bad happened here, and I think it was after the kind of like, I don't know if it was happening at the end of the last ice age, but the end of the last ice age kind of was sliding in, and then it had a pretty steep melt pulse 1A, and they had three melt pulses, but the first one was super steep, and it kind of all of a sudden, whatever was happening, it started happening fast, and the all told, when you put those 3 melt pulses together, you get 410 feet of sea level rise between like 14,000 years ago, and I think it stopped like 8,000 years ago or something like that. Is that right?
Yeah, I think about right.
Yeah, but all told, you put all that together, you've got 400, and please do the meter translation.